Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a positive and productive day so far. My name is Kel with the Planner Aisle and today I'm doing a really quick 6-month wellness check-in and going through a few of the changes I'm making to my wellness routine for the remainder of the year. This is a follow-up to my wellness planner setup video. I'll link it here in the top corner in case you want to check it out. I'm also adding links below to all of the products I use in the video, and as always, please leave me a comment with any questions or topics you would like for me to include in my next video. Without further ado, let's hop in. Before we get into my mid-year check-in, I wanted to do a really quick run-through of my current setup and the things that I'm tracking for 2023. So I use two planners to track my wellness and fitness progress. The first is my wellness planner that sits in my A5 agenda. This is where I house my goals for the year, my yearly overview logs, and my before and after photos. And then second is my supplemental wellness planner, which is where I keep my detailed daily logs. So the areas I'm tracking this year are my weight and measurements, calories, water intake, exercise and number of steps, mood, symptoms, and what medicines I'm taking. I also use my Fitness Pal to log my nutrient breakdown as well, but I don't really track that in detail. I mainly use it to calculate the percentage of processed food that I'm eating month to month. The areas you track will look different and should look different for each person depending on your personal goals and nutritional needs, but these are the areas that I personally want to pay special attention to this year. So starting with my supplemental planner, I am still using the cloth and paper spiral planner. I really love this planner. It is dated, so you can just write whatever it is that you're tracking without having to create the layout as well. I also love horizontal weeklies. I use these in my main agenda, and the blank space paired with the grid block is perfect for logging different types of data and separating it visually without having to use like washi tape or stickies or anything like that. I am adding this resilience dashboard from Cloth and Paper. It says resilience is knowing that you are the only one that has the power and the responsibility to pick yourself up. It's such a great reminder to keep pushing even when things get difficult, and having this in the front here just gives me that extra dose of motivation when I open my planner. Then I have this little pocket folder, and here I just have a few stickers and a stencil sheet inside. I use these tiny micro dots from Nicole Hutch Designs in my summary sections. These larger orange dots I use to mark my exercise days in my weekly spread. I have two scale icons. The tiny ones I use to list my weight in my weekly section. These are from Cheerful Findings on Etsy. And then these larger colorful scale icons are from Adorn Plans. And this I use to log my weight on my monthly spread. The last thing in here is just a little stencil sheet, and I use this to mark how well I did that month on my monthly overviews. So pivoting to my goals spread and my main planner, I have 4 overall goals for this year. Those are losing 55 pounds, reducing the amount of processed food I'm eating, increasing my endurance and running long distances again, and prioritizing my mental health. And then I have 4 daily, or what I call active goals, and these are the daily and weekly achievements that if I stick to will get me to my overall goals. For me, those are keeping my daily calories between 1200 to 1500, drinking at least 5 cups of water per day, taking 6,000 steps or more per day, and exercising at least 3 days each week. So we are now in July, which means theoretically I should be about halfway to my goals. Looking at my monthly spread for June, you can see I've lost 18 pounds so far, which is progress, but it's a lot lower than I hoped for. I was hoping to be at least 25 pounds down by now, but this month was pretty bad overall. I didn't meet any of my action goals down here. Looking back to May and doing a quick comparison, in June, I averaged 200 calories more per day. I didn't drink enough water, and I cut my exercise days in half. So seeing the results is disappointing, but definitely not surprising. This is one of the situations where I have to be careful. I tend to beat myself up when I don't meet my personal goals, but I've been really working on shifting my perspective and really just cheering myself on and focusing on the progress I have made. This is also another reason why I highly recommend tracking or logging your progress towards whatever your goals are, whether it's saving for college, paying off your debts, running a 5K, whatever you want to accomplish. Writing it down is a great way to keep yourself accountable and also gives you an honest and transparent look into your process. That way, if you do have any setbacks or anything, you can better understand what things you may need to tweak to get back on track. For me, I can look at my trackers and see the numbers. As some famous person said, numbers don't lie. And when looking over extended periods of time, that is absolutely true. I can see I ate a lot more than I should have. I did take a deep dive into my actual food intake, and I ate a lot more processed food last month in addition to the extra calories. Limiting my processed food intake is one of my primary goals for the year. So for July, I am going to work really, really hard to get that number back to less than 10%. So with that, the first change that I'm making in July is logging the percent of processed food that I'm eating each day. That way, I have no choice but to see it when I'm logging my food, so it's at the forefront of my mind when I go to grab those super tasty barbecue chips. Another area I'm going to work on is my exercise. So before June, I was averaging 3 exercise days per week and 15 per month. For the month of June, there were only 6 days where I worked out, which is really awful. So the second thing that I'm changing or actually adding to my routine for July is planning my exercise a week in advance instead of just going on the days that my schedule is light. That way, it's a planned activity on my calendar, so it becomes a priority for me. I used to do this last year and then I started a new job and it fell off, so I'm definitely adding this back to my weekly schedule. Looking at my main planner, my measurements are roughly the same as they were back in May. I only log my measurements every 2 months. Weight changes or changes in body composition take place gradually, so logging every 8 weeks gives me a more accurate picture of my progress. Overall, I've lost a total of 9 inches from the 6 areas that I'm tracking. I don't have a target measurement that I'm shooting for this year, but next year in early to mid 2024, I do plan to up my strength training routine. So around then is when I will track this in a lot more detail, particularly body composition. At that point, I'll be paying much more attention to body fat percentage, muscle weight, VO2 max, and other targeted fitness measurements, but I'm not there yet. For now, this is all I need to push myself back into a healthier and fitter lifestyle inside and out. Another thing I'm changing is my vitamin intake, and I started this last month. So I used to take a probiotic along with a multivitamin and B12 each month. I don't take it anymore. I really took it because I wasn't eating as healthy of foods, but now that my nutritional needs are being met through regular food, I figured I would just stop them for a few months and see if that made any significant impact to how I'm feeling overall. Another thing that I'm planning on cutting out completely is Red Bull. And I say planning to because I just had one this morning. These things give you so much energy, but they are awful for you. I'm not a doctor or nutrition expert or anything, so I'm not going to speak to all of the ways these can potentially cause harm to you. But even if it didn't have questionable ingredients, it's still unnecessary added sugar that has very little to no nutritional value. Having one every now and then is fine for most people, but I started drinking these as an alternative to excess coffee, which is what I log in yellow here. This is the number of ounces over the 1 cup of coffee that I allow myself to drink each morning. It has helped with coffee consumption, but June was also the month where I exercised the least, felt the worst, and the only month this year that I've gained weight. So getting back to drinking plain black coffee and limiting how much I'm drinking is the last change I'm making for the month of July. Lastly, I did get a few questions on my digital measuring tape. I purchased this off of Amazon. It's by Arboleaf, and it's a smart tape measure that syncs to your phone so you don't have to write your numbers down. It also keeps track of all of your measurements so you can do some quick comparisons if you want. I keep it here in this little clear pouch from Cloth and Paper, and in here I just have some regular measuring tape, a notepad, and my Orange Theory heart rate band. And that wraps up my wellness planner and mid-year updates for 2023. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support. If you did find this helpful and you want to see more wellness and planning videos, please hit the like button and subscribe. You would really help my channel out. Before I let you go, I am receiving a lot of interest from people wanting my wellness logs in a printable version. If that is something that you're interested in, leave me a comment down below. Depending on how many people want them, I may offer them as freebies on my website. Thank you to everyone who reached out to me in the comments and via Instagram. I really appreciate your questions and feedback, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for the latest on launch dates and freebies. Until next time, sending positive vibes your way and have a wonderful rest of your day.